Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Hope it's fantastic. Everything here is beautiful. It's going to be like 80 degrees today. I want to take the bike out, but it's also supposed to rain. So, I recently picked up David Lynch's Catching the Big Fish, and something in here I want to share with you. But off the top, I do not recommend that you pick this book up. This book says meditation, consciousness, and creativity. Internationally acclaimed, provides a rare window to his methods as an artist, blah, blah, blah. This is not a book for a normal person who wants to learn about creativity or whatnot. In fact, I don't think you would learn much from this book at all. I think almost everything in this book I already knew. Because I've watched David's interviews, I've watched his YouTube channel. This is a particular book for a particular person, and I think that in order to take anything away from this, you need to be somebody who really understands David Lynch, and I don't think there's anybody who really understands David Lynch. So this is kind of a conundrum of a book, but there is a passage in here that I wanted to share with you, because I think it applies to most of us, if not all of us. Globally, all of us, but specifically to those of us who identify as creatives or as craftspeople or what have you. I think that there's this particular passage that I'm going to read to you, and I want to discuss it. And the title for this particular passage is Having a Setup. Some mornings in a perfect world, you might wake up, have a coffee, finish meditation, and say, okay, today I'm going into the shop to work on a lamp. This idea comes to you, you can see it, but to accomplish it, you need what I call a setup. For example, you may need a working shop or a working painting studio, you may need a working music studio, or a computer room where you can write something. It's crucial to have a setup so that at any given moment, when you get an idea, you have the place and the tools to make it happen. If you don't have a setup, there are many times when you get the inspiration, the idea, but you have no tools, no place to put it together, and the idea just sits there and festers. Over time, it will go away. You didn't fulfill it, and that's just heartache. I think that's a beautiful way of looking at creativity. It's something that's really been hitting me hard lately. I've been doing something in the background that I haven't told to you. I haven't even told him. Well, no, I did tell him. I just told him while we were on the cruise that I've been doing something in the background, and I found it to be a rewarding experience, but also something I'm not willing to share yet. I haven't even shared with him. I've told her what I'm doing, but I haven't shared with her. And that is I've been writing. Not anything in particular. Not a story, not a novel, not a book. I'm not working on the old book. I'm not doing any of that stuff. But I've just been, if an idea comes, I write it. And the goal has been to try to write some form of a narrative every week. Whether that's a couple of sentences or a 3,000 word story or whatever. I've been trying to write something every week. I'm trying to find an inspiration and put it on the page. So far, I've written some really weird missives. I've written some interesting, I wouldn't even say they're narratives. I would say they're more like essays. I haven't had a whole lot of success. Nothing that I would let anybody else read, including him. In fact, all but one of them I've deleted because it's an exercise. It's not really about the product. It's about the exercise. But what I have found is I now have these two pretty well formed ideas in my head that I would like to actually commit time to. The problem is I don't have a setup. And when those ideas popped into my head, I had some really great scenes show up and some really great dialogue, but I had no means of recording that immediately. I don't have a place to write. I don't have a desk. I've been working from home for 2 years. I've been working off of a coffee, like a lap, like not a lap desk, but a TV tray, like a wooden TV tray on my couch for 2 years. That's been my office, and there's no room there for a computer. I have my work laptop, but the thing is, and especially when we're talking about the company stuff, I need to have a personal place to work, not my work. My work laptop is for work, and a lot of the writing that I have been doing is on there, but that's not. I shouldn't be using it for that. I have a Chromebook for that. The problem is I have no place for that Chromebook. I have no place where I can just, oh, I have the idea and I can go type that out. I have this space. This is a great space for realizing momentary ideas. For instance, it was my dad's birthday last week. He wanted, of all things, a hatchet. He didn't know what happened to his hatchet, so I bought him one, and I couldn't figure out how to wrap it. And so a couple of hours before we left to go to his birthday, I realized, like, why don't I just build a crate to put it in, like a wooden crate? And so I had the concept. I came down here, I picked out the wood, I made a crate. Because I have this shop, because it's set up in a way that I can find things easily, it was really easy for me to realize that dream. Or realize that idea, not necessarily a dream, because I don't think that the stories that I'm trying to realize are dreams. They're just stories, and I have concepts of interesting characters and interesting places. I just haven't found a space yet to use to make those dreams a reality. And I think that might be what happens when this room goes in over here. I think that when that happens and we move kind of our professional life into that space, I will have the space to set up a setup for writing. Because I've been enjoying the process of writing things and throwing them away. I have not enjoyed, but I'm also frustrated because these two ideas that I have floating in my head, these two larger story ideas, are things that I need to commit the time to. But it's hard to commit the time to when I know that there's not a space, and it's much easier for me as an individual, and it seems to be that way with David, with the way that he wrote that passage. In the moment is when I need to do the writing, not days later after I've let it fester. Because a lot of the clarity that I had in that moment is gone. It's already vanished. I didn't have the setup. I didn't have the place to go realize the thing. So, I need to work on that. And I thought that was a really good passage. Probably the most redeemable thing out of this book. If you like David Lynch and you understand his idiosyncrasies and his oddness, then maybe you'll enjoy some of the other stuff in here. But it's very different. This isn't really a book to help you with your creativity. This is a book that maybe will help you understand David Lynch a little bit more. Have a setup. I have to work on that. Do you have a setup for whatever it is that you want to do creatively? Do you have a place that I can go do that thing right now? Let me know about that in the comments down below. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should notice sounds smart is lucre. It is a noun meaning monetary, reward, or gain. I fear the popular notion of success stands in direct opposition in all points to the real and wholesome success. One adores public opinion, the other private opinion. One fame, the other desert. Nope, desert. One feats, the other humility. One lucre, the other love. Ralph Waldo Emerson, an American poet, essayist, and transcendentalist. Interesting. David Lynch, transcendentalist. Lucre, L-U-C-R-E. Yeah, that would be, I think, both. One adores, one fame, the other desert. I think both of those people like dessert. Maybe they don't. I don't like dessert. I'm not a fan.